In prime time, boys soccer here at beautiful Bloomington Stadium. It's the Jefferson Jaguars and the Cooper Hawks. 72 degrees and hardly a cloud in the sky, not a breath of wind, a perfect night for high school soccer. Alongside our crew and Alex Redding, Josh Powers with you, and two teams, Alex, that would love to get a win here tonight. Jefferson coming off their best performance of the year. Cooper, meanwhile, has not recorded a win or a tie yet this year.
Well, certainly, and last Tuesday night on the soccer pitch was, such a game to watch, Josh. Especially if you're the Jefferson Jaguars, that's something that you haven't really seen out of your offense for most of the season. So Jefferson is definitely riding an offensive hot hand into this game. And by the way, Jonathan Hernandez, spectacular, having to fill in for the Brandon Akum injury in the second half. And by the way, Jefferson had to come back 2 times in that match last Tuesday night right here on BEC-TV against the Chaska Hawks. And we are almost ready to get this one underway. We will send it down to the house announcer for the starting lineups here at Bloomington Stadium.
We'll begin with the Cooper Hawks. Defender, sophomore, number 33, Ian Bjorbak. Forward, sophomore, number 30, Blaine Astudillo Garcia. Goalkeeper, junior, number 93, Jaden Hogue. Defender, senior, number 27, Captain Cyrus Jarjay. Midfielder, senior, number 28, Abdirahman Mohammed, also a captain. Defender, senior, number 26, Captain Wilson Rosinos. At forward, sophomore, number 32, James Sando. Midfielder, freshman, number 41, Shadrick Tamba. Midfielder, sophomore, number 34, Francisco Torres Gomez Eagle. Defender, senior, number 47, Charles Sozuhoin. And defender, senior, number 48, Christian Reeves. The head coach for the Hawks is Kent Getchell. And now the lineup for the Jefferson Jaguars. At goalkeeper, senior, number 1, Cormac Merrill. Midfielder, freshman, number 4, Dylan Gedderts. Midfielder, freshman, number 6, Joseph Nyagaka. Midfielder, senior, number 7, Zachary Rightoff. Defender, junior, number 8, Joshua Anderson. Midfielder, junior, number 11, Aiden Atkins. Midfielder, senior, number 13, Leif Kaiser. Defender, senior, number 15, Nicholas Fox. Defender, senior, number 17, Jacob Heyer. Midfielder, senior, number 18, Will Grant. And forward, senior, number 23, Brendan Akum. The head coach for the Jaguars is Danny Storlin. The officials for tonight's game are...
We are ready to go. We are ready to go here at Bloomington Stadium. Second of our doubleheader earlier tonight, a 2-2 tie between the Jaguar girls and... 0-0 tie. I was thinking back to that Chaska 2-2 tie that Jefferson had the other night. 0-0 tie between the girls. Alex, Jefferson's coming off of a 2-2 tie, their most impressive performance of the year against what was then the first place Chaska Hawks, but not any longer.
Well, certainly not any longer. And, you look at where Jefferson started at the beginning of the year, they had some flashes. And going back to the premiere of Boys Jefferson Soccer on BEC-TV, not the season premiere for them league-wise, but also going back to how they played as well in the first half. They had some great looks, and they just really weren't able to quite convert those chances into goals. but you know what? They did, and they did it twice last Tuesday night. They had to come down from 1 goal 2 times. It was just really a great performance put on by the offense. Not come down, rather, earlier, as I mistakenly said, but come back, rather. They put on quite the show, and really, in the second half, Brendan Akum going out with an injury. It looked like it was going to be a little iffy for Jefferson offensively. You lose the size and the great ball handling skill that Akum brings to the table, number 23. But Jonathan Hernandez stepped it up and put Jefferson in a position as to where they could score the second comeback goal of that game, and they did. And that really does leave a ding for the Chaska Hawks in the standings, because Benilde is still undefeated. And then also you got Chanhassen up there as well. But however, they have slipped as of recent. They are 3-2-2. Yeah, and Benilde, they keep rolling at 5-0-0.
Well, in the meantime, on the other side, it's a Robbinsdale Cooper team that, yes, they're 0-7 this year, but they've had several close losses. 3 times this year they've lost 2-1, and they've also had another 1-goal loss, 3-2. So 4 of those 7 losses are by just a goal. So it'll be an interesting matchup between 2 teams looking to move up in the standings here tonight, as Jefferson in the Columbia blue, Cooper in the road white, and Aiden Adkins for Jefferson wins a corner kick immediately. It's actually going to be a throw-in immediately here for the Jaguars.
Jefferson did very well in their game against Chaska with the corner kicks, might I also mention.
It will be Adkins to throw. They usually like to use a Coom. Got it back to Adkins and kind of shanked that cross.
It's going to be interesting tonight offensively for Jefferson, Josh, about that size down low in the box that they exhibited quite well, or tried to at least, in Tuesday night's match here on BEC-TV Boys Soccer Night in Bloomington against Chaska. And really, I think that's the key for Jefferson in order to win that battle offensively again tonight, is to get the big bodies into the box. And that includes Will Grant, Brendan Akum, and even kind of playing Jonathan Hernandez up a bit when he gets time on the soccer pitch tonight as well. If you put him in an offensive or an attacking role deep into the offensive zone, he can make teams pay, as we saw, again, going back to that Chaska match last Tuesday night.
Deposited out by Nicholas Fox. These 2 teams have combined for similar numbers. Cooper has allowed 24 goals and scored just 6. Jefferson's allowed 22, scored just 5, as this one will be a throw-in for Cooper. The Hawks have been outscored 10-1 in the first half and 14-5 in the second half. Jefferson's been outscored in the first half 8-1 and 14-4 in the second half. So the goal numbers could not get much closer. And we have our first corner kick of the game, and it goes to the visitors from Robbinsdale Cooper. Toward the top of the box, and this one's going in the wrong direction. Jefferson, as you mentioned, Alex, as we get a steal here by Adkins, does figure to have an advantage on these set pieces. They're the taller team, as Kaiser helps the offensive cause up for Brendan Akum. Kaiser, edge of the box, and couldn't quite get the angle on that one. That's a nice counter attack, though, by the Jaguars.
Even better pass by Brendan Akum towards the center, looking to go to the top of the box to set up his teammate, just not quite there. But you can definitely sense that offensive awareness is clicking, and it has continued right out the gate here in this game, and continuing from that Tuesday night match against Chaska. Really, that's probably one of the best performances of the year by any team in the Metro West Conference.
Adkins touches it back. Played up ahead by Zach Rightoff, number 7.
Also for Jefferson tonight, too, with the taller bodies being an asset for them, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Transitioning to defense, we'll see exactly where they're going to be positioned, because I think it's going to come down to where you put your big guys for Jefferson. And how well that they are able to transition, I think, is going to be the key factor in helping decide this game.
Adkins' long throw, touch for Akum out of his reach. Kaiser is there, got it to Grant, back to Kaiser, sneaks it through. Akum fires, scores, but it's offside. As I get all excited for a disallowed goal. It was a nice strike by Brendan Akum into the back of the net, but unfortunately did not count.
Well, even though the play was offside, Josh, the presence of mind offensively is there. They have carried the precision that they showed and that comeback mentality from last Tuesday, and it's right, it's off on a right foot here.
Here's Cooper with a sustained possession. This is Eagle sending it back to 32. James Sando intercepted Kaiser. Just not quite able to slip it ahead to Joshua Anderson, who had one of the 2 goals the other night against Chaska. His goal came back in the first half. The other scorer was Kaiser. Here is Anderson, up for a Coombe, but too far. And the Cooper goaltender, Jaden Hove, he's a junior, boots it past midfield. Touched in by Francisco Torres Gomez Eagle. And the first touch for Cormac Merrill, the Jaguar goaltender.
Cormac Merrill was terrific in the match against Chaska last Tuesday. Let's go ahead and take a look at that pass up ahead to Brandon Acum. This, of course, did not count because of the offside call, but you can already tell that Jefferson smells blood.
This one is onside. It gets away from the Cooper defender, and Jefferson scores!
Oh!
It's Joshua Anderson who takes advantage of a Hawk mistake, and it's 1-0 Jaguars.
What a tough, tough break for the Cooper Hawks. And you know, I got to tell you, this is probably the most tense, slow-moving ball go in for a goal that I've seen this year. I mean, Jefferson definitely throwing the dramatics here early on the soccer pitch.
So Joshua Anderson with 2 goals in 2 games. And look at him hustle this down enough to where this ball deflects off of him and stays in play, and then just not a clean job right there by the Cooper player. And look at Anderson, just a quick flick, perfectly placed.
Yeah, and when you're in the box alone, if the goalie's out of position, you cannot try and settle the ball down. That's the last thing you want, because that offensive player is going to rush you right away.
That needed to be blasted out of play. Jaguar corner, meantime, tried to strike while the iron's hot. Fox, an awkward run there and a touch. But yeah, you're exactly right, Alex. That ball, don't know the Cooper player down there, but that needed to be blasted either over the sideline or even the end line would have been much better than to try to do something fancy and something extra in the dead middle of the 18.
Now, what was he doing?
Now Cooper behind the 8 ball against the Jaguar defense that has been improving as the season has gone on here. The Hawks themselves have only scored 6 times on the season. How about this Jaguar offense starting to pick things up? They had a goal against a very good Benilde team, 2 against almost as good Chaska team, and they've already struck early here tonight.
Oh, nice takeaway at the top of the box, and nice play by Merrill to clean that one up.
It was Aiden Adkins on the initial block. It was, unfortunately for Jefferson, stayed right in the area for a swing for Cooper. And the first real save there for Cormac Merrill. Foul here on Christian Reeves, the senior defender, number 48 for the Cooper Hawks. A free kick for the Jaguars. And here's one of those set piece opportunities that they can get some height toward the 18 here. Fox, left-footed, center of the box. Kaiser gets a head on it. And it's deflected away. Naigaka had another chance. And now Getters plays it over to Heyer. He's not used to dealing with the ball in space. They'll give Cooper the advantage and a play on here. Oh, terrific defense by right off. But coming in as Eagle. Eagle slips it through, but out of the reach of his teammate as Dylan Getters swings back in to clear it outside and out of immediate danger.
And on that last fast break for Cooper, Josh, you know, we mentioned Jefferson's offense being able to turn on goal production, and very nicely too, but look out for Cooper. Their forwards are some of the fastest in conference. And I got to tell you, that was quite a sprint. And that will wreak havoc behind enemy lines for Jefferson. If they don't transition well, and again, it's going to be so important, as I mentioned earlier, as to where they put their big men.
Cooper throw. Putting it in quickly, 33 for Cooper. Ian Bjorbak. Sando tips it a little further ahead. Excellent stop by Dylan Getters, just a freshman, and draws a foul there. Bright future. Another athletic Getters boy coming through the Jaguar system.
Yet again, more offensive pressure for Jefferson on this free kick.
It's Fox again. Great strike here. Kaiser gets ahead on it. Juggled for a moment by Hove, but he was there to clean it up.
And we saw in the girls' game, too, if you remember, Josh, the Jefferson offense kept the pressure on. They made the defense work for the ball in the attacking zone, and that opened up so many great chances. And Jefferson's got a good opportunity with their offensive performance that they're exhibiting right now to do just that, but Cooper looking to turn it around.
Ball across, this is Eagle, now he's surrounded by Jaguars. This one might be fortunate enough to stay in for Jefferson. It is. I think they're just meant to clear it. Eagle gets a kick back on it. Cleared aside. Here's Estudio Garcia, number 30, a sophomore. One of their top forwards. Who scored earlier this year. Bjorbak throws it in quickly.
This one sent
Ball
ahead.
ahead. Anderson trying to track it down, and does. Tripped in the box, and they'll say play on, as it did look, that looked dangerous for a moment for Cooper, but it did look like the Hawk player got a piece of that ball, and probably a good call. Goes out for a Cooper goal kick. Right now the Hawks, Alex, they seem like they want to counterattack and try to get long balls up ahead to get these forwards into some space with not a lot of defenders around them. Here's another look at this. Let's see. There you go. That left foot clearly hitting the ball there, so terrific no call. Unfortunately, we'd like to see a penalty kick for the Jaguars, but not warranted there.
Yep. But if they're going to call the penalty, the official has to make the determination that the player was going to drag down the other player, not to try and compete to get possession of the ball. That's important. And because the defender touched the ball, that negated the penalty.
Yep. Here's Sando with some space. Watched by Grant. He's separated from the ball, and it's played ahead by Heyer.
Nice pass.
He is so dependable back there, number 17, the senior Lucas Heyer. Grant ball through, looking for either Anderson or Akum. Closest to Akum and not able to track it down. Kaiser wins a 50-50 to Brendan Akum. And wasn't on the same page with Anderson, thought he was going to start on a run. Timing's so critical on those plays.
And if Jefferson's offense continues to stretch out this Cooper defense, which of course they've already shown early on here in the first half, they're going to get some very good quality chances, I'm telling you, down the pipeline as this one goes toward the net.
Good urgency there by Merrill to get out there as that ball was kind of spinning toward the end line, avoiding a corner.
Well, Jefferson's going to have to rely on a lot of great saves tonight from that man right there.
Akum, very adept at those backward headers that keep that momentum going. Swinging ball this way, but too far for Aiden Adkins.
Jefferson has a real unique advantage on the offensive side of the ball with Brendan Akum. And he really gave Brendan Akum, by the way, Chaska, a whole lot of problems, especially in the second half. even parts of the first half against the Hawks.
Nice ball by Kaiser. Adkins cross! Akum! Just out of his reach. Good reaction defensively by Cooper. Here's Grant. Squeezes through, but too far for Adkins. Jefferson winning the possession time certainly so far. They've got the game's only goal. We're about 15 minutes in. A very nice start for Jefferson.
The other thing, too, is I like the decision to keep attacking. And that's what you got to do, and it's still quite a ways to go before intermission.
Some subs here for the Hawks. Their head coach, Kent Getchell. On the other side for Jefferson, Danny Storleen. Short goal kick here. Adkins runs up on it. Akum tried to settle it. Got it to Adkins. Slides it over for Aiden Adkins.
Move.
Nice touch. Adkins. Grant. Naigaka on a run toward the corner. Naigaka looking for the cross, and now maybe trying to win a corner down there. Still in a battle. So 41, Shadrach Tamba, a freshman. Tamba winning that situation, but it ends up with a Jaguar throw anyway. I suppose they'd prefer that over the corner. But more time spent in the Cooper end here in the first half for Jefferson.
And of course, that 1-goal lead has really jump-started everything. You know, it kind of carries over amongst all sports that Jefferson plays. Whenever they score or that big goal or whatever it happens to be, everything just changes.
Naigaka cross, Adkins. Just tipped out of range. We have a stoppage of play here. I wonder if we got some wrong equipment, maybe some jewelry on. Perhaps that's Cyrus Jarjay, number 27, heading toward the Cooper bench.
That appears to be the case. Oh, and a yellow card.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that's some sort of a rules violation there. So Janjay out momentarily. Here's Bjorbak, throw.
That's a great header.
Well done by Rydoff, who's really improving this year as a senior. Grant swings it. Anderson. Anderson behind the D. Anderson tripped up. Again, play on. Jefferson's delivering some really nice balls. Aggressive attacking opportunities, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, Alex, and that time it was Grant.
And right now, they're trying to move their big men up front. And, you know, I talked about it a little bit earlier, too, Josh, that Cooper is so good on the fast break. Cooper is now having to get a taste of their own medicine here, so to speak.
Here's another ball from Kaiser to Adkins. Cross for Akum. Kaiser!
What a block.
It'll be a throw, but it could have been much more. Akum back. Ball in, just out of the reach of Getters.
The backup play, as well as the ball handling offensively for the Jaguars, has been absolutely incredible as that one's poked out of play.
They are keeping the gas pedal down right now, is Jefferson.
Right, and notice Jefferson's play offensively. There's always somebody to help out. And again, another ball out of bounds.
Jefferson with the lead as we near the midway point of the first half, thanks to the goal by Joshua Anderson. Alongside our crew and Alex Redding, this is Josh Powers. Second half of our doubleheader, our third doubleheader this week of soccer. Hope you've enjoyed our expanded soccer coverage this year on BEC-TV. Adkins with a steal. Another ball for Akum. Brendan Akum cross. Out of the reach of the goaltender. Bouncing around. Adkins! A little too tall.
And again, you can see Jefferson is attacking the slot. They smell blood. Cooper has been very iffy tonight in the slot. And as we saw at the first goal, that's exactly where Cooper gave it up, that slot area, inside that box deep. And that was a very slow roller, the first goal of the game, too.
How must be a sinking feeling for that goaltender. You get a hand on it, you dive, and you don't come up with it.
And then your teammate...
Fortunately for Hove, it wasn't put in the back of the net.
And then your teammate, too, as I was going to say, makes a not so smart play. And again, Cooper has got to do a little bit better job of clearing.
Jefferson's winning almost all the midfield battles.
That's exactly what we saw the girls do as well in the game earlier tonight, or in the previous match, rather.
Foul here on Sam Dennis, number 46, the senior forward. Free kick, Nicholas Fox takes the majority of those free kicks in their own end or midfield. Sonos sends it through, escapes the reach of Estudio Garcia. Grant hits it ahead. Kaiser trying to settle it along the sideline. Can't keep it alive, but it is a Jaguar throw. Hove coming out, misplayed it. Akum's going to get there. Kaiser with space. Adkins. Adkins!
Oh!
A little too deep.
Another golden opportunity.
Boy, Cooper has not been squeaky clean in its own end. It led to one Jaguar goal and nearly another one there. Well, Alex, it was announced earlier this week on Monday, in fact, that the Minnesota State High School League was returning football and girls volleyball to play in the fall, and we do have the football schedules. They have been released for both Jefferson and Kennedy. The teams will begin on October 9th. It'll be a 6-game schedule, and we cannot wait for our football coverage to resume. Not to take anything away from soccer, and they really won't overlap. The soccer regular season ends just before that football season begins. We're excited. We'll have all that coverage for you on BEC-TV as coming out again, Hove. And I do have for you Jaguar fans the Jefferson football schedule. It has been released. The 6-game regular season starts on October 9th at Chanhassen. First home game on the 16th against Apple Valley. Then they go on the road to Waconia. On the 30th, another home game against Benilde. Friday, November 6th, they'll play these very same Cooper Hawks on the road, and the final home game will be Wednesday, November 11th against Chaska. So Chanhassen, Apple Valley, Waconia, Benilde, Cooper, and Chaska, the 6 football opponents this fall for Tim Carlson's team.
And you know, the State High School League ought to bring back the Battle of Bloomington. You know, and that's the only thing that's really missing from the exciting news, in my opinion. But you know what I will say? It is special that we're going to see football return. And hey, maybe even with some snow on the ground, too, later on in the season.
It is highly likely, given the pushed back time frame. Estudio Garcia. Corner kick for Cooper. Second corner kick for the Hawks here in the first half. We really haven't threatened to score much at all in this game.
Well, if there's any time to threaten, it's right now. Jefferson's playing their big boys back more inside the goalie box.
Abdirahman Mohammed corner kick. To the top of the box, flick back in, higher, didn't get enough of that header! And it's deflected wide.
What a play!
It's Zach Rightoff to save the day back on the end line.
I guess you could say he was able to write off a goal, or a no-goal rather.
Merrill watches that attempt sail just over the bar. You won't see Jacob Heyer make too many mistakes back there, but that header did not go his way. Fortunately, he should go give his teammate Zach Rytoff a little COVID elbow appreciation.
Most certainly, and you know, going back to what I said about Jefferson's backup play, we saw it on the offensive side of the ball earlier on in this first half, and now the defense, oh boy, really owes Cormac Merrill one in front of the net.
Well, that is how my third grade daughter basically scored her first ever soccer goal on Monday. She was near the net and had a situation where a defender was trying to clear, and she aggressively got that foot in the way, ricocheted back into the net, and you almost saw that Cooper player do that there with that shoulder touch. Fortunately for Jefferson, it came at a glancing angle that sent it wide.
Fortunate bounce for Jefferson here as that one's cleared way out of play.
Here is Rytoff, his senior. Making really the play of the game so far, even with the Jaguar goal. Anderson cross. Cleared but not out. Grant's going to get a touch. Grant! That's deflected. And now Jefferson needs to get back. It's number 12 into the game, Christian Acevedo. Here is Acevedo. He gets tripped up, and an obvious foul will give Jefferson a pretty good look here from about 25 yards.
And the throw-in is going to be...
This will be a free
kick. Oh yeah, a free kick is going to be relatively close to the box, so...
It's Dylan Getters. And look at all the tall Jaguar bodies he can swing that ball toward. This is a low one, though. Bouncing, headed, and jumping up. Hove to make the save. Dangerous collision. I don't think those players saw each other. There was no malintent, but certainly Heyer was at fault there. If it were a car crash, he'd be at fault in that situation. He gets called for the foul there.
Luckily, no lawyers either on that last collision.
And no auto insurance needed. Chip toward the Jaguar box, but there's the extremely tall Will Grant. I bet he goes about 6'4", and he rises above the rest to head it out of there. Such an asset on those set pieces is Grant. Sondo. Good touches here by Cooper.
Good pressure by Jefferson on the double team as that one's going to draw a foul.
Estudio Garcia's very shifty number 30 in white draws a foul. Jefferson doing a good job of making him dance around a little bit, kind of like we saw in the girls game earlier where Jefferson's made the Cooper top player really work for all the opportunities she got and made him come from distance. Ball in, this time Akum takes care of it. Thought it might lead to a Jaguar breakout, but Cooper does a nice job settling it. Now they have it back toward the 18. Cross headed again by Grant. Well done by Kaiser as he was able to, I believe, get to that ball first. No, this was going to go on Kaiser. That's a little surprising here. Because I thought Kaiser tipped that ball first before the Cooper player did. And I think because of that, I don't know if I agree with this call. Yes, Kaiser more so ran into the Cooper player than the other way around, but Kaiser did get to that ball first, it looked like.
And most certainly did. Very little contact from my vantage point.
Does lead to a free kick opportunity for Cooper in a pretty good spot. This ball in on a bounce, and Merrill hugs it for the save.
Merrill in a good position again to make the stop, and if that ball would have been kicked a little bit slower, would have given more time for somebody to stream into that box for Cooper and probably blast in a header or a one-timer off the foot.
Anderson toward Akum. Checking in Jonathan Hernandez, who had such a great second half against Chaska the other night. Number 10 in Columbia Blue, flings it in on the throw. Anderson. Was that deflected or not? And it was for a Jaguar throw.
Let's take a look at the replay here.
Hard to tell from that angle, but Cooper didn't really put up much of an argument. So another corner for Dylan Getters and Jefferson.
Jefferson playing their bigger bodies more towards the back of the box this time. Now Will Grant charges into the slot.
Getters ball in a great spot, and it was headed just wide. Jacob Heyer got a glancing piece of it.
You can see Brendan Akum also charging the slot too. You get your two big guys charging towards the net right up the gut. Good strategy, just a little bit wonky on the execution.
Beautiful ball, though, by the freshman Dylan Getters.
Most certainly.
Can't ask for much more than that as Acevedo tries to keep this in and does.
Nice work.
And wins a 50-50 as he slips it through. Too far for Akum. And now Cooper the other way. Sando working on right off and didn't get too far. Acevedo helping. Akum, such nimble footwork for a bigger guy as he squeezes it through. Anderson watches that roll into the arms of Hove. Fox long ball. Way out to play at Hove, but I think he needed to.
Cooper's done a really nice job challenging the midfield. And it did take him a little bit to come on right now, but they're doing a good job getting it into the attacking zone. So the question is, with the momentum now in the midfield going to Cooper, how much is Jefferson going to need to rely on their big men back there in order to try and be in a position to block some shots? Because with the way that you've been playing offensively, if you're Jefferson, your big men have been in some pretty good positions. So it leaves Coach Storleen with a little dilemma as to what he wants to do coaching-wise. But, I mean, I think you'd leave your big men up front. I mean, I don't know about you, Josh, but you got to protect that 1-0 lead.
Well, you don't want to get too over-aggressive, but there's still so much game left. I don't know if you want to alter your strategy just yet. And it's a strategy that's been working for Jefferson as they've been the aggressor primarily. Cooper's been more of the counter-attacking team in this game. Akum for Cooper. Again, just a little too far. Jefferson keeps that gas pedal down.
So did Hove, going way out there to grab this ball. And that's a smart play by Hove, because if he would have just sat back in there, that would have been probably another Jefferson goal on the breakaway.
Well, one of these balls for Jefferson's going to find that right distance. And eventually you'd think it's going to lead to a grade A opportunity, to use a hockey term.
Cooper right now trying to look for a seam, and Jefferson again challenging the midfield so heavily right now.
It's been hard to break into this Jaguar wall. Cooper's having to do it via the sidelines. It's where you want to keep your opponent. Final 7 minutes here in the first half. Jefferson continues to lead thanks to the Joshua Anderson goal very early on. Taking advantage of a mistake in the box by the Hawks. This one's up for grabs, though, and quickly ushered aside. Take this throw, Wilson Racinos, the co-captain, number 26. And he'll have a chance to do it again.
Start.
Coming up to bring number 27 on this throw. That's Cyrus Jarjay, who's back in, and after that equipment yellow card.
That one rolls out of play.
But on the good side of the flag, nice denial there by Rytoff, having a strong first half. He's the reason this is still a 1-0 lead with that save he had back on the goal line. Acevedo with a great move. Twisting ball ahead for Anderson. He got a touch on it. If he could have swung on that, it would be a tall ask for Anderson of high degree of difficulty. If he could have swung on that high ball, he might have had an opportunity to score. Akum flicks it. Getters. Just over the box. Or over the bar, I should say. In the box. Excellent strike by the freshman, Dylan Getters.
Again, that's the second soccer ball tonight that has banged off the football uprights. And we saw a lot of high kicks in the girls' game earlier from the Cooper girls towards the Jefferson net, rather. Cooper boys hoping to find the net between the two teams.
Kaiser, great takeaway. Leaf Kaiser drops it off for Hernandez. And a Jaguar throw as we're under 5 minutes now for the first half. Under the lights here in prime time on BEC-TV. Cooper yet to win this year. Jefferson also yet to win, but they did tie heavily favored Chaska on Tuesday, so they are coming off of a lot of good momentum and have carried that momentum in this first half where they have been the better team. Boy, that was risky by Hove. It leads to a corner kick, but that's about the best Hove could have hoped for here. This was easily able, if that would have gotten past him, that could have easily been redirected in by the Jaguars. He was fortunate.
And it's that speed, that burst of energy that he has in front of the net that allows him to do that and make those risky moves.
See if Getters can deliver another corner kick with precision. It is, and again, headed just wide, or this time just high of the bar. Dylan Getters is putting these on point. That time it was Grant. You see his height advantage, and that's what they're exactly trying to do down there.
We saw that in the Chaska match a couple of nights ago, and we saw it here tonight, and even on that last play, Jefferson is really at their best offensively when they have Grant, when they have Akum, they have their big men in there.
Such an advantage on those set pieces Jefferson will have tonight. Acevedo with a lot of room, instead just decides to play it up for Akum. Akum, nice first touch, has space, chips it, and that just missed over the top of the bar. He see into that sagging netting back there for Brendan Akum. I think this was supposed to be a pass. Just didn't have the angle on it. Just over 2 minutes left here in the first half. See if the Jaguars can get another dangerous chance or two. They've had the vast majority of chances in this game, and of course, as you can see, the only goal. Flag up here. A foul on Cooper. one more home game for Jefferson, and I would say a pretty important one. It's against Kennedy. We'll have it for you on October 6th. Part of our doubleheader. We'll have the girls game as well. Boys at 5, girls at 7:15. That's our next soccer broadcast for Jefferson on BEC-TV.
And I can't wait for that one too, because we get to see the new and improved Jefferson offense. Kennedy in the last match against the Jefferson Jaguars here at Bloomington Stadium, they went on a tangent. 5-0 in that match, and including a hat trick by guess who, Josh?
Well, it was Rodriguez with that hat trick.
Diego Fuentes Rodriguez, that's exactly right.
But you know Jefferson's going to want a measure of revenge. It's one thing to lose to your rival, but to be thoroughly handled 5-0. They're fortunate to get another opportunity come October 6th. It's good positioning by Reithoff to draw this foul. Watch Zach Reithoff just always kept his body between the goal and the Cooper player, and it results in a Jaguar free kick.
And, you know, it really speaks volumes to how well the Jaguars have developed in their ability to position themselves both defensively and offensively. And as we just saw, it's given the offense more time in the attacking zone. And again, that's what the girls team earlier in the previous match here on Girls Soccer Night in Bloomington did against the Cooper girls team, the Jefferson girls, by the way. They had the majority of the time in the attacking zone, and even though they didn't come away with a goal, they definitely looked like the better team.
Yetter sends us off the back of Christian Reeves and out of play as we have reached the end of the first half. A strong performance through 40 minutes by the Jaguars. They have the lead, Alex Redding, 1-0.
Yeah, they most certainly do. And yeah, it's that new and improved offense that we started to see glimpses of last Tuesday night against Chaska. And, you know, the strategy of moving your big men deep into the box has worked so well. And, you know, how about the corner kicks from Getters as well? That really set up some more primetime chances, some quality chances. And, you know, this is something that Cooper's going to have to try and defend against here in the second half after intermission, because Cooper has really not had much of an answer for Akum or Grant or any of the bigger bodies that Jefferson's been able to field so far in this first half. And again, the other battle for Cooper is they need to find a way to get the midfield battle won and transition play, because if they're able to put themselves in a position where they can win the midfield, it could be game over, and Cooper's speed could take over as well with the midfield domination if they do take that midfield over.
Jefferson leads 1-0 if you're watching live. Second half coming up in about 9 minutes. If you're watching our tape delay version, you don't have to wait long. It's just around the corner after this break. You're watching Jaguar boys hockey on boys soccer on BEC-TV. Back at Bloomington Stadium, second half just about to get underway. We are doing our part to keep socially distanced and 6 feet away. Most people try to stay 6 feet away from me anyway, Alex, but we have, in our case, we have our own separate booths and a door and a wall between us. As meantime, Cooper with their most dangerous attack of the entire game in the opening minute of the second half, and some nervous moments for Cormac Merrill, but he makes the save. Alongside our crew and Alex Redding, I am Josh Powers. Jefferson continues their strong play over these last 2 games, a 2-2 tie against Chaska on Tuesday, and Alex, a very strong first half performance and a 1-goal lead here.
Most certainly, and putting the big men down low in the box for Jefferson has catapulted their offense, and we saw such aggression, such optimism from the offensive drives in the attacking zone in the first half. It was entertaining to watch, and Jefferson definitely the better team, not just on the scoreboard, but also with quality chances in this game.
Here's Hernandez. Jonathan Hernandez. Ball, Acum.
Gotta like the idea by Brendan Acum. Tried to use the side of his foot to try and settle it down, but also deflect it towards the net. Like the thinking there by Acum.
Grant takes advantage of a shorter than normal goal kick from Jaden Hove, but can't do anything with it. Intercepted Hernandez. Can't keep it alive. Jefferson's really dominated the midfield area. It's been difficult for Cooper outside of throw-ins along the sidelines and long runs from defense to offense to try to establish time in the Jefferson end.
Most certainly, and if Cooper doesn't resolve that problem, as I said before going into intermission, Josh, if Cooper doesn't resolve their midfield issues, they can't give their stellar fast break a chance to score goals. And for Cooper, it's going to be game over.
It's a very experienced Jaguar D. You've got Nicholas Fox back there, a senior. Jacob Hires back there. He's a senior. We already seen what Rytoff can do. Another senior back there. He's listed as a midi, but playing more of a defensive style of game today. So it's a tough nut to crack for Cooper so far.
Especially the backup play from Jefferson's offense and defense has just been terrific. And it's the little things that they're doing well at in this match, Josh, that you hear over and over again in practice. And look out!
Kaiser hit from behind, foul coming. There's where that. Is this going to be a card? This is going to be a card. I'm surprised. Oh, I can see why, though, there, where you extend that forearm. That's 46. And that is scanning my roster here. Sam Dennis, sorry about that, but the Cooper roster neither organized in alphabetical nor numerical order. So it has been challenging for me at times in this game. Sam Dennis with that yellow card, a free kick chance for Jefferson.
And Cooper had a yellow card earlier, and that was because, if you remember, one of the players actually had jewelry that he forgot to remove, and you can't have that on the playing surface. And that, by the way, is the 4th card today. We had 2 cards, yellow cards rather, in the girls' game or in the girls' match earlier, and now we have 2 cards in the boys' match here tonight. So it's quite the evening, I got to say.
So Leif Kaiser, it appears, will take this free kick. Could have an option here if you're Kaiser to try to beat the keeper straight up, but also you'd also have the advantage height-wise if you want to try to chip one. It's kind of an awkward angle to do so. I'd expect Kaiser to give this a go. There's the swing, and outstretching was Hove for the save. That might have been redirected when it got into the 18, but a very good try by Kaiser.
Yeah, and the first goal of the game, too, that was a grounder, a slow-rolling grounder that got by Hove and just creeped into the net. And deep inside the box, that's been the only score of the game, of course. But it was definitely well earned by Jefferson. They really had to fight for that first goal of the game, as there was a lot of pressure down low from Cooper.
Here's Grant with a steal, but he's basically 1-on-4, so he backtracks and waits for support. Jonathan Hernandez wins a throw for Jefferson.
And Hernandez, I mean, if you want to talk about somebody who Jefferson needs to be feeding the ball to right now, it's him. Jonathan Hernandez did so great. He turned on a secondary offensive switch in the match against Chaska last Tuesday night. And whoa, Hove really had to go out for that one.
Good cross by Akum with not a lot of room to negotiate over there. He's not normally a left-footed kicker either. It was a pretty good move on that one. Here's a dangerous ball. Merrill left to backtrack. Stretches out for the one-handed save.
He made an amazing foot save towards the end of the match on Tuesday night. This kid is something else when it comes to making saves in space.
So Cooper, without not doing a whole lot in terms of dangerous chances in the first half, have already had 2 good ones here in the first 5 minutes of the second half.
Cooper right now, let's see if they can get another good quality offensive drive. But again, it's that midfield area that they have really struggled to control.
Acevedo trying to run it down. Could not keep it in. Jarjay throw in. Ball chipped ahead on the run, right off in a not enviable position, but does the smart thing, sends it toward the Cooper bench.
And towards the midfield stripe too, like he knew he was going to have to clear it, and a smart play to clear it more towards the midfield area and going out of play. That's where you want to clear it.
So a much better start to this second half for Cooper. Again, the Hawks 0-7, but 4 of their losses have been by 1 goal each, including a 2-1 loss against Kennedy on September 17th. Coombe tips it back toward Grant, who did well to negotiate it back at midfield. Deflected here. Kaiser might have a step. And that touch is going to be too far, I believe, for Kaiser. Was able to keep it in, but all he could do is drizzle it toward goaltender Hove.
That's just great hustle.
See the speed there of Kaiser, too, as he turns it on full blast.
And that's the other reason why Cooper has struggled so much, especially in the midfield and even on fast breaks. Jefferson has had the right guys out there in order to match their speed.
Ball through here to Eagle. Tipped away by Jefferson.
And again, Jefferson's ability to match Cooper's speed, especially on fast breaks, has just killed any advantage that they may have had, especially if they have a transition play going there in their favor into the attacking zone. There's not a whole lot going for them.
Throw by Jarjay got all the way through.
Whoa.
And we got a foul here on Charles Sozuine, number 47, with kind of an arm bar to the back of Acevedo.
Yeah, gave him the COVID elbow, as you like to say. Nice kick.
Nicholas Fox, backheader, Kaiser, it's onside, Kaiser, off the post, and then slipped wide on the rebound somehow by Anderson.
You cannot get a better 2 chances than that.
Oh my goodness, Anderson's going to be seeing that one in his sleep for months. If Jefferson doesn't go on to win this game. If they do, he'll remember that goal he scored in the first half that will prove to be the game winner. But what a glorious chance for Anderson, who had probably more time. He could have, not that you wouldn't want to do that normally, but he could have drizzled it down to himself. He might get another chance here. He does, and he scores. How about that?
that comeback mentality that Jefferson's had to have all year, and, well, I got to tell you.
Moments ago, he let a much easier shot slip off his foot and go wide. Seconds later, finds the back of the net. Joshua Anderson is having a week. 3 goals in 2 games.
He most certainly has, and, you know, it's often said by good coaches, keep going at it, because oftentimes that same chance is going to come back right in your corner, right in your hood, and he put it home.
Absolutely.
That's why you never, ever let plays go, no matter how bad they may look.
He did not hang his head for 1 second. Didn't have the time to. He was right back in and capitalized. So great stuff from Jefferson and Joshua Anderson, and now a little bit of breathing room. Up by a pair with just over a half hour remaining in this game.
And that last goal, by the way, too, Jefferson's been having some really good, favorable bounces going their direction. And not just on the headers, by the way. So if it weren't for that favorable bounce, might I add, he probably wouldn't have had another opportunity to be in a position to put that ball back into the net.
We'll see if Jefferson's strategy changes here. Up by 2 now. There's still a bunch of time left. Maybe not quite yet, but certainly when we get under that 20-minute mark, you could see them contribute more players toward that back end. Blasted wide by Gomez Eagle.
We get another look at the replay there moments ago, the ball heading out of bounds, and Cormac Merrill, that's, I mean, other than the one-handed save that he had to make, it's pretty much the only action that he's had here as of recently. I mean, he hasn't done a whole lot in this game, and that's the way Jefferson likes to keep it. Of course, any team would like to keep it that way, but their offense has just been so opportunistic, as well as the bounces they've gotten, too, have just really blown this thing wide open for Jefferson.
Good pressure there by Akum. Forces a clearance. Acevedo throw. Doesn't seem like he wants to give it to Akum now and relents.
It's a good clear down low.
I think he was just waiting for Akum to get a little bit better position, which he did, obviously. Wins another Jaguar throw. This time putting 2 on Akum. Try to go over the top, and Cooper has none of it.
Yeah, Cooper trying to just simply blast the ball as far as they can into the attacking zone to have a little bit extra time to get on transition to go offensive in the attacking zone.
That's been their strategy because it's been so hard for them to negotiate through midfield. Jefferson's done such a nice job. That's been really their primary strategy.
But even then, it's been difficult, too, because Jefferson has some big bodies back there, especially number 15, Nicholas Fox. He's another one of their big men.
Great touches here by Acevedo. Acevedo cross toward Akum. Headed out of the box by Cooper. And now the Hawks trying to counter. Sando tried to get it to Studio Garcia, but taken away by Jacob Heyer. Oh, look at this delicious ball ahead. It's Anderson trying for a hat trick. Anderson slipping wide.
This kid is on fire.
What a ball, though, by Heyer to start that run.
Jeez, oh, Pete. And Cooper's pretty much had no answer for them, and Jefferson's taken advantage of the slot so well in this game, both offensively exploiting Cooper's defense, but also defensively being able to shut down any interior lanes to get towards that goalie box and eventually the net. And I mean, we've talked about how well Jefferson has controlled the midfield, but they've controlled the slot inside the box. That's also been a key asset for them. Nice header.
Kaiser able to take that one on the move, but then ran into a Cooper wall. Here come the Hawks back the other way. Estudio Garcia is to the sideline. Cross. Here's Eagle. Gomez Eagle toward the box. Not out. Chance for Sando. Ran into a duo of Jaguar defenders, and now the counter strike.
And again, it's that slot area that I talked about. Jefferson's defense being able to shut down so well. Absolutely no chance for Cooper to try and get any closer towards that net.
Getters. Look at this ball. Another one on target. Akum fakes the cross. There's the real cross. But coming up to head it off at the pass was goaltender Jaden Hove. Jefferson getting creative too. You can see them building confidence offensively for a team that has struggled to score until recently in the season.
Well, one of the key factors to that, and you know, it's often overlooked as, that's just a loaded bull, but they're having fun out there. The key is not trying too hard. Especially if you're not doing well, you try and fine-tune stuff to try and get it right. And Jefferson's done a really nice job of just taking things as they get them. And again, not thinking too much about things.
.25 minutes remaining in this one. Jefferson, if they hang on, they would record their first win of the season, building momentum off of Tuesday's tie and against a Chaska team that had previously only lost one game until they came here on Tuesday.
By the way, that was a shutout loss to Benilde.
Jefferson's going to be a factor here down the stretch. Games against Chanhassen and Kennedy coming up. Could really get on a roll. They do have to face Benilde again in the regular season finale, but Jefferson's season building momentum right now.
Boy, I got to tell you, if Jefferson gets the win here tonight, that is going to amp up the Battle of Bloomington substantially. Make for a very entertaining game. A little bit more entertaining than the 5-0 blowout shutout win Kennedy had weeks back. Now, for me, it was entertaining because, I mean, I'll admit Kennedy was my alma mater, but though, I mean, in the context of a competitive atmosphere or a barn burner game that these rivalries are expected to carry, not so much energy there in that department.
Coom ahead for Anderson. Coom given a lot of space there, sends it the edge of the 18. Cooper wasn't super urgent about it, but got rid of it nonetheless. Higher has an extra half step to survey. And now Acevedo.
Let's go ahead and take another look at that sequence in the midfield. Really nice pressure by Cooper's number 28.
Acevedo steamrolled as he got the better body position in that sequence. So Acevedo having a nice game.
Especially along that edge.
That's a foul on Sozuoin. Free kick time for Dylan Getters. And this is at a bit of more of an angle to where I think Getters is going to throw this one toward some teammates on the far side of that box for a header rather than trying to score with this.
We'll see if Jefferson tries to get the big bodies moving in the slot.
There it is! Oh, the header just missed! And then it's put in again! And guess who?
Oh my gosh, don't tell me.
It's Anderson with a hat trick. But is it going to count? Hold on, the official's discussing. Actually, it was higher, not Anderson. And this will not count after all.
Oh, wow.
We're going to have to take another look at it. It's hard to hear these whistles up here in our socially distanced, enclosed booths.
Then, of course, we have headsets on, too. That further deafens the sound.
I'd say about 25% of the whistles on the field I hear, and the other 75% I do not. That one I heard right there, as it's going to be a Jaguar free kick. Watch this look again. This is probably going to be offsides was my guess. I don't see where you would get offside there. Maybe we can take one more look at that one. Actually, it was Kaiser who would have gotten credit for that goal, it looked like.
And again, I got to tell you, the box positioning has been so spot on.
Here's a Coombe. Lofted cross right at the edge of the goal line. Still in play.
Wow.
Akum tries it again, and now this one looks like this is offsides. Jefferson.
My goodness.
They could be up 4 or 5-0 right now. Cooper way too loose in the 18, in my opinion.
I agree with that, especially in the slot. They have not been able to take away the slot down low or any routes that cut across.
Okay, we're getting our word from our producer that it appeared to be a handball on Kaiser. It may have hit off of his head and then his hand. We'll try to get one more look at that one, why that was potentially disallowed. Here's
We
one
get another
more
look at it here.
Slow that down. Oh, there you right off of the. It looked like off the hand, not of Kaiser, but it looked like of Higher.
Ooh.
I don't know what else it would have hit over there at that position other than Higher's hand or arm that would have caused it to be propelled forward like that. So probably the correct call. And again, it's not like we're doing an instant replay in football where you have to have conclusive evidence. That call on the field was no goal. And it did look probably like the right call from that look. Anderson not deterred. He's going to try to get that hat trick at some point here in the second half. This time plays it back to Hernandez. Too far for Getters. Meanwhile, we're under the 20-minute mark remaining. Jefferson looking strong for their first win of the year. Anderson, will it be a hat trick? No, not yet.
Not quite enough juice on the end of that one.
Hove making the save. Anderson wanted to hit that one a little bit higher. Couldn't get under it. Ball ahead to Gomez Eagle.
Tried to work it more inside towards the middle where they could try and attack that slot again, which they've been unsuccessful at trying to get a breakthrough at as we get a look at the end of the replay.
Gomez Eagle had it stripped clean that time. Sando working on Acevedo. Gomez Eagle. Ball across in a good spot, but it is cut off nicely by Merrill.
And Cormac Merrill's got a nice pair of hands to catch that soccer ball. And I got to tell you, he's got a great vertical, too, for a guy his size.
You could see the Cooper player was alone there behind the defense, and that was onside. Look at Anderson! Breaking away again! Saved again! Kaiser rebound and popping up quickly, Hove. Some nice moments here for Jordan Hove.
My goodness, yeah, to get back up and make another save, not getting down on himself. This guy is mentally tough.
Anderson is just running wild back there for Jefferson. He's got another chance. Anderson, wide again. Good heavens.
I got no words to describe what we are witnessing right now. I mean, this is something you dream about in your sleep. I don't know how else to say it. Well, I mean, credit Hove, too. He's coming out and he's intimidating Anderson.
Well, clearly Cooper's committing more players toward the offensive end, and it's leading to these opportunities. But that one, Anderson didn't even charge after it immediately, then realized there was nobody there, and then sprinted after it. And he had time to make that run.
Wow.
This is crazy.
That is, how many of those plays is Cooper willing to give up before Jefferson cracks another one open? As the Hawks try and jumpstart their offense.
Look at Dylan Getters, the freshman. Anderson again. This one's offside. It is getting almost comical at this point.
Criminy. Well, I mean, Anderson was sort of covered there on the back end by Cooper, but man, it begs my earlier question, how many of those kind of plays or looks is Cooper willing to give up?
Until this week, this was a Jefferson team that had scored 3 goals on the season, and these last 10 minutes, they've had 10, 12 grade A scoring chances against these Hawks.
Begs another question, what are these Jaguars on right now?
Well, they're on a roll right now with some good momentum. Here's another turnover. Anderson again. He's got Akum to his left. There's the pass across. Akum scores!
Again, another example of how Jefferson has been able to defeat Cooper in the slot, charging on the fast break. And again, another perfect example of how you play backup offense. Well done, Brendan Akum.
Once again, it was Joshua Anderson making things happen.
And also notice on that play, too, Akum didn't try and blast it as hard as he could. He put the right amount of touch on that ball.
Plenty to cheer for.
Oh, yes.
For the girls' team. They couldn't quite get it done earlier tonight. They probably should have, but they're playing their best soccer of the season. And now they get a chance to let out some of that aggression that they couldn't quite get done earlier tonight here in the boys' game.
And also wave hi to Mom at home.
Mom would probably prefer they'd be socially distanced with masks, but they were all together on the soccer pitch earlier, so.
Oh, yes.
At that point, keep away from everyone else here in Bloomington Stadium, and you can stay together. It's probably as good as they can do. So now Cooper really up against it, down by a trio of Jaguar goals, as Merrill makes a diving save on a ball that probably would have missed wide. And you see the Cooper strategy. I mean, there's nobody behind that line of defense.
Absolutely.
40 yards from the goal.
And Cooper is that desperate to try and get something going offensively that, you know, in my view, there's not been a whole lot of regard for the defensive side of the ball. And, I mean, what else are you supposed to do at this point, considering how well Jefferson's played the midfield? There's not much.
I mean, I guess they don't care if it's 3-0 or 6-0, whatever the score is. They're trying to get their back into it, which I suppose makes sense. But they are just giving Jefferson so many opportunities. Here's another free kick for the freshman Getters.
And my goodness, hasn't he done such an amazing job on putting the ball in play inside the box for his teammates? You can't ask for better from this guy.
Great precision for Getters. That one a little bit too deep. Flinging it ahead, Hove. And Cooper again will try to counter as fast as possible. Cooper player cut off there. His numbers are a little bit tricky to see for Cooper. This one appears to be a Jaguar goal kick. And they'll take their time now with these set situations as we're under 15 minutes left in a 3-0 Jaguar lead. Looking comfortable for their first win of the year. Still a little bit yet to go.
Zachary Richard in the game for Jefferson, and he is yet another big body on a roster full of many for these Jaguars.
How many 6'3" and above guys does Jefferson have? Another one there apparently in Richard, the senior. looks 6'3". I guess everybody looks 6'3" to me. I'm only about 5'6.5". Twelve and a half minutes remaining. Now the urgency for Cooper seems to have waned a little bit as well. They're seeing this outcome creep into reality.
Right, and I know, and as you mentioned, by the way, strategy-wise, earlier on in tonight's match, it's going to be important not to be too aggressive, and I believe Cooper, in desperation to try and get something going, was a little bit too eager. And then that's where you can make a lot of mistakes, especially on the back end, as we saw, and they have not had an answer for the slot.
Sando, Estudio Garcia. Sando ball on a line drive caught by Merrill.
Well, making it look routine after that last replay was shown. Cormac Merrill, one of the few but many quality good saves that he has made tonight.
To be obviously Jefferson's first shutout of the year. They can get it done. Here's the freshman Naigaka. Naigaka! Ball across. Woo. And redirected out for a Jaguar corner. He already has one goal this year, does Naigaka. Well, and he was looking to assist, it appeared, per the direction of that one.
That's a wise choice by Naigaka to let guess who kick it in off the corner for Jefferson.
It's Getters once again. This ball directionally at keeper Hove, who makes the save and again quickly rifles it ahead.
And a really good look from our crew down there. That's Andrew Grun, by the way, on camera.
Sando plays it back. Bjorback ahead. Estudio Garcia has it taken away. Kaiser, ball for Anderson. This will be a bit too strong. Our next Jaguar broadcast will be a big one. It'll be the Battle of Bloomington, Jefferson, and Kennedy on Tuesday, October 6th, a week and a half from now.
And after tonight, Jefferson's going to definitely turn up the heat for that match. Jefferson, during the last Battle of Bloomington match this year, got blown to pieces 5-0.
Just looks like a different team from then.
Totally. Whoa,
As
nice
Akum
sliding
sends
save
one
in front.
I mean, yeah, Cooper has not won a game this year, but we saw Jefferson play so well against Chaska on Tuesday, and they're proving that that performance on Tuesday was not a fluke.
Most certainly.
Here's Kaiser. Kaiser on the run. Kaiser ball across. It's Acevedo. And good defense there from Cyrus Jarjay, the captain. And now Cooper countering. Dennis.
Whoa.
Hit just outside the 18. Surprised that's a play on for Jefferson. Also a Jaguar player down there. That was a tough collision.
Oh.
And they're going to stop the game here.
Oh, he looked to have hit his head hard.
Yeah, and that's
Concussion protocol time coming up.
You know, it's what you don't want to
Nicholas
see happen.
Fox.
And that is one of their leaders back there, Fox, on the back end. People think concussions and they think football, but it is.
Nope. It's in soccer too.
I'm not going to say as likely in soccer, but it does happen more frequently than people, I think, realize out there. And I'd be surprised if we see Fox again. Really no need at this point. Jefferson up 3.
Richard also in the game, taking his place, number 21 for Jefferson.
That's Jonathan Richard. I wonder if they're twins. They're both seniors.
And again, it's another big body back there for Jefferson defensively. That's like a broken record. We keep saying it.
Kind of, but judging by number 19 and 21, seeing them stand somewhat near each other, I would say a high probability that they are in fact twins. So good to see them both on the pitch at the same time for the Jaguars. Ball slips through to Acevedo. He has all sorts of room. Acevedo! And how did Hove hang on to this without it falling to the ground? Obviously he was probably going to be in the way of that ball at some way. That was a tough angle, but to grab that clean, impressive.
Well, certainly, and he's definitely had to be outside of his comfort zone for most of this match. And he looked really good in warm-ups, by the way, here, too.
Night appears to be done for Joshua Anderson, and he put in some work with 2 goals and an assist, factoring in on all 3 Jaguar goals here tonight. For Joshua Anderson, what a week for him.
Oh, my goodness. You couldn't have dreamt it up any better, even if you tried.
Again, having that presence, not presence of mind, but that mentality after he had missed such a golden opportunity, and then seconds later to come right back and finish has to be a great feeling for that young man.
Oh, certainly playing pissed off. And that one is just simply cleared out.
Final 7 minutes here from Bloomington Stadium. And really now the only question is, will Jefferson get their first shutout of the year? Grant helping Jefferson do that with this ball out of the reach of Acevedo. Good counter strike here on a long ball, but it's going to be ruled offside.
We'll see also for Jefferson who they're going to sub in too, because we are starting to get in towards garbage time. And that means building some of that depth in their roster, and Jefferson right now is definitely going to look to do that as much as they can here before their final meeting with crosstown rival Kennedy, and of course the playoffs to be announced.
Yeah, there's still one more game in between that. On next Tuesday they'll be at Chan before getting that week off. Here's a ball with multiple Jaguars ahead of the play, and Acevedo scores! Christian Acevedo makes it 4-0. Boy, and you can hear goaltender Hove. Maybe we can cut out one of the words he uttered in that sentence, but
well, certainly.
He basically said there was 4 players streaking, and he's not wrong. Maybe it was only 3, but point being, with no defenders, there were numerous Jaguars, all good in terms of offside, streaking in, and Hove really had no chance.
Most certainly, and the onslaught that he has had the unfortunate end of getting the shaft side of is not his fault. I mean, really, his defense has kind of left him hanging. I mean, the fact that he's done as well as he did on a lot of the saves that he has made in this game, we're lucky it's not a higher score for Jefferson or Cooper.
Yeah,
they're not lucky it's higher.
It could be 7 or 8 to nothing at this point. And Cooper just trying to really hasn't put in as much effort, obviously, now as they would in a game that wasn't 4-0. Jefferson looking for more. Hernandez gets inside the 18. Naigaka would have been offside as he would have been able to get to it as he was behind everybody. See Naigaka there. That would have been whistled off had Hove not grabbed it. Here's a Coombe trying to lead Acevedo again. Just shoved out of the way at the last second. You like how Jefferson's continuing to play hard. They want to score more goals here, Alex.
Yeah, why not? You got the lead, you're at home, you have the advantage, why not pour it on?
They're showing that they can play with effort for the full 80.
I mean, that's exactly what every coach expects out of you. From the assistants all the way down to the head coach, Danny Storleen. They've really worked hard this year to get to this point. I mean, to see this turnaround, it's impressive. And to do it against a team like Cooper, to be able to blow them out here tonight 4-0 as the score currently stands, something must have happened.
Good trap there by the Cooper Hawks. Number 20. Don't have him on our roster, but a good run nonetheless. One of the maybe the players, JV players playing up, or as that rolls harmlessly to Cormac Merrill. You know, he wants to get that shutout. He's 3.5 minutes away.
We had some help from his defense on the last shot attempt, partially deflecting it before it got to him. Yeah, and speaking of Cormac Merrill, too, going back to the last play that he made in front of the net, he has not had a busy night, especially the second half at all. I mean, other than the one great one-hand save, there haven't been a whole lot of those highlights from him.
Yeah, no frantic moments other than that one that you mentioned. Should be an illegal throw-in, I believe, or are we going to get a sub?
We'll see.
Just making sure that sub was off the field there, it looked like. This throw will go back to the Jaguars with 2.5 minutes remaining in an outstanding week for Jefferson boys soccer. And much needed too. Not only a week without a loss for Jefferson, but certainly the way they've played both games, the offense that they've been able to generate gives them a lot of confidence moving forward for the last few games of the year.
And it's the way that they've been able to move their big guys into the slot. That really has been a difference maker offensively. And you got to talk about those corner kicks. They have really nailed those down to a T quite nicely, especially Dylan Getters, who's done a phenomenal job tonight at putting in some pretty good-looking, juicy corner kicks into some pretty good spots. And tough spots for Cooper, and they have not had an answer, as I've said before, for the slot inside the penalty box.
Played in by Estudio Garcia, and Cormac Merrill controls it. Long ball redirected by Acevedo, kicked the wrong way by Reeves. See if Jefferson will try for one more goal here in the final minute with Jonathan Richard coming up to take this throw. Also in the game, Aiden Icehaug, number 5. Acevedo nearly got to that one.
See what Jonathan Hernandez can do with it. He sends it into the box.
Oh, Akum tried to settle that with a quick touch. It would have been difficult. Couldn't quite get it done. Jefferson, it appears, is going to get this shutout.
And they most certainly will, and Robbinsdale Cooper is only going to have an even tougher uphill climb in their next match against the Chaska Hawks.
Naigaka strike, turn back. Nice header there. In good position was Zachary Richard. One last attempt for the Cooper Hawks. The final 10 seconds.
And that'll do it.
It will do it. 2 seconds and 1. What a week for the Jaguar boys soccer team. An impressive tie on Tuesday against the top team in the Metro West, Chaska, and a dominant blowout performance. 4-0 tonight as the Jaguars win going away, Alex Redding.
Most certainly, and never did I think that I would be standing in this booth talking about the shutout that Jefferson would put on in tonight's game. I mean, we would have conversations in weeks prior about whether or not Jefferson had enough offensive production in order to put balls into the net to be able to score to win games. And now we're talking about preserving shutouts. This is a team that has completely done a 180, and I don't know what's going on in their internal team meetings and practices, but there's something different going on. And I think that needs to be called out. And let me tell you, Kennedy, you're going to have your hands full in the next match, in the final meeting in the Battle of Bloomington, because this is a different Jefferson team, and that really did take it to Chaska. It rattled the Hawks even, and now Benilde is in a prime opportunity to take the Metro West as a result of Jefferson's stretch this week. And, I got to say, it's been a very interesting back-to-back couple of matches for Jefferson. And again, the defense was able to transition and taking control of the slot with their big guys, and the midfield play, very aggressive midfield play really does it for Jefferson. And of course, Cooper, because of Jefferson's midfield play and the ability to control the slot offensively and defensively, had no answers other than to just try and clear the ball deep into the attacking zone to try and create space for their offense to catch up. And then, of course, Hove just slaughtered into the net. I mean, the lack of defense in the second half, trying to put their front foot a little bit too far forward, really did cost the Cooper Hawks. And Hove made some really nice saves in this game, too, wrapping things up when, it's all said and done. But this is a very dominant Jefferson team going into the next match. Very fun game, if you're Jefferson, that is. But really entertaining soccer night in Bloomington. Josh, what about you?
It was fun to watch this Jefferson performance. Wasn't a dominant 4-0 win. Joshua Anderson, 2 goals and an assist. Brendan Acombe and Christian Acevedo also scoring for the Jaguars, who get their first win of the year. Congratulations to the Jaguar boys team. Our next Jaguar boys broadcast will be the Battle of Bloomington, Tuesday, October 6th. 5 o'clock start for the boys, 7:15 for the girls, right here on BEC-TV. Jefferson wins it in dominant fashion, 4-0. For our entire crew, for Alex Redding, this is Josh Powers saying good night from Bloomington Stadium.
Fix. And of course, speaking of fall sports, we have some other breaking news that happened this afternoon. We'll get to that probably later in the program. In this regards, volleyball and football. The state of Minnesota High School League had a vote today whether or not they were going to bring back. And a big blast! Oh, just wide of the net! Fuentes Rodriguez, I believe, if I'm reading that correctly, made a big blast towards the net. Another good offensive chance for Kennedy. The last good chance was by Omar Artola, number 7, and that was inside the box earlier on here of this first half. And it is sent away by Carlson, not to the near side. And Rodriguez looking for somebody, sets it up across the middle for Artola. Trying to get in there, but it's taken away on the defensive side of the ball by Chanhassen, and a great clear by Kristen Lange, the captain. Kennedy still keeping the pressure up, though, but Chanhassen saying, no mas, get it out of there. And Kennedy now putting it back in play. And so we have had a very interesting first half defensively for both of these two teams, I got to say, ladies and gentlemen.